true to what you said on paper.
I wish that I could freely dream and be judged from within, haunted by a power that cannot see past my skin. My views are viewed as ignorant, my truth always denied. My history is shrouded in a spider web of lies. Isn't this America? Or is this America all a lie?
Of the freedom of speech, somewhere I read. Of the freedom of press, somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
How can I pledge allegiance to a country built on lies, or raise my children to believe they're equal in its eyes? My leaders are assassinated for speaking their mind. So justice never tilts my way. I thought that she was blind. Isn't this America? Or is this America all a lie?
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
I am Denise Tapina-Reed, co-host of At the Round Table with MAMLEO, a Massachusetts Association Minority Law Enforcement Officers Incorporated broadcast, and we greatly appreciate our sponsors. John B. Cruz Construction Company, 1 John Elliott Square, Roxbury, Massachusetts, third generation family owned.
Good morning. Welcome back to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. I'm your host, Larry Ellison, in studio with my brother from another, like folks, we're playing musical chairs here. The Rhodes Scholar has jumped in here this morning. How are you, Brother Rhodes? Good. Brother Rhodes, can you just take this for a second? I just want to holler at the doctor for a second.
No problem. Good morning, everyone. And again, this is the second hour of MAMLEO, and I hope you guys enjoyed the first hour. Gentlemen, I believe you're Sam?
I'm Simon.
You're Sam?
Simon.
Sammy?
Simon.
All right. Let's see. Maybe we should close those doors. But anyway, welcome to the broadcast, and then we're going to get a proper and formal introduction going once we get the show going. But again, this is the Round Table with MAMLEO, and it's a great place for us to air out or get things out for the people, because the previous segment of the show was about predatory lending in our community. But what you guys do is, I believe, like home inspections.
I'm in a home.
So you're the home inspector, and then what do you do?
I do home and auto insurance and commercial insurance.
Okay. So another perspective or aspect to this.
Well, we're trying to connect people with credible, reputable people, right?
Yes.
Who, a lot of times, a lot of work on referral, but
yeah, just because you see them on TV don't mean they're reputable.
Oh, they got a billboard, right?
Well, exactly. Just because they have a TV show don't mean that they should be president.
Exactly. And we want to thank our sponsor, the Money Store. For all your mortgage needs, give branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 508-345-4726. That's 508-345-4726. And if you want to be part of this conversation this morning, give us a call at area code 617-282-0685. That's 617-282-0685. And Cora is going to be joining us shortly, our sponsor. But right now, we're proud and happy to introduce this morning Richie Wong with RNC Inspections. For those who don't know, with this, you do home inspections. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and people have, a lot of people, because of the competition for housing, seems to have cooled off a little bit. We're waiving inspections, which I don't think is a good idea. And Richie's going to tell you why it's not a good idea not to have a home inspection. A home is probably the largest investment you'll make in your lifetime, other than your family and children, right? And so to go in there and pay for something blindly, I don't think it makes sense. And I think most of the time it's reasonable. It's not required, but you're the one who's going to have to end up eating it if there's problems down the road. So he's going to talk a little bit about that. Also, Simon, and how pronounce your last name?
Cito.
Okay, I want to get it right. And he's with XP Insurance Partnerships for home and auto insurance. Okay, so we've got it all covered here. If you need home inspection, if you need auto and home insurance, we've got the gentleman. So welcome to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. Appreciate you gentlemen coming in so early this morning. So Rich, I want to start off with you. As I just alluded to, a lot of people have been waiving home inspections. Tell us people about what you do during a home inspection and why it's probably not a good idea to waive an inspection, unless it's a brand new home, which is not required because it's under warranty for a year. But
yes and no. I guess the first part to that question is for home inspections, definitely recommend that you do one, especially if you are a first-time homeowner, because there's a lot of things that you might not have thought about in the past. And I mean, most people going into a single-family home, when they go into open houses, going shopping, they pay attention to how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what this garage is, but they don't pay attention to, for example, is the roof on its way out? What kind of siding do you have? If you have wood siding, yes, it looks beautiful, but now you have the budget to repaint the whole house, maybe once every 3 to 5 years, and that's part of the maintenance cost that they should be aware of. And then, of course, home inspections, we go through and test all your plumbing, electrical, go through all your major appliances, just uncovering issues, any maintenance that you should be aware of as a homeowner, just so you can budget, so you can be confident about being a homeowner for at least the next 5 years, that you don't have to spend maybe tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars for fixes.
But that also, so to be clear as well, is that the home inspection is not required on a mortgage, right? You're not required to have a home inspection in most cases, and it's paid for by the homeowner.
Yes.
The prospective homeowner.
Exactly. So this is usually the buyer's responsibility to hire their own home inspector and get a home inspection. I know there are some mortgage programs out there, like a VA loan program, where they will require pest inspection, or what we call WDO inspection with destroying organisms. But that is far and few in between. Most of them are, most of the time, the home inspectors are hired by the buyers themselves.
And so, on average, what is the cost for home inspection?
I would say if it's a small condo, I think it's about the $400 to $500 start range.
Okay.
And then for a single family, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe $600 or so.
Yeah. So the reason why I say that is because, well, the average price for a home in the city of Boston is now close to $1 million. $400 to say $600 is a small investment on something. Like, I don't understand why people would say, I'm not going to spend $600, but I'm going to invest $1 million in a property without knowing whether or not the wiring is updated or the plumbing. Like you said, when you go through there, you're looking at things that are not on the surface for the most part, right? And when in home inspection, that people can't see, or even if they do, they don't know how to identify whether or not it's working or how much longer it's going to work.
Yes, exactly. So we give useful life for, basically look at all your systems, tell you what kind of systems they are, the age of it, and the useful life, so you can budget to replace, for example, your boiler or your furnace. And no, we don't have X-ray vision, so we can't see behind walls. But there are signs that we see that we can basically use tools to identify. Like, for example, if I see a water stain on your ceiling or your wall, I can always put a moisture meter to it to see whether it's an active leak or not.
Okay.
So things like that I can advise, but we can't go there and break open walls to look at what's inside.
Right.
But if there is an issue, there's usually hints, and we can catch those hints for you.
And then that helps you with the negotiation, right? Because if you identify that moisture is still active and it needs a roof or patching, that's part of the negotiation, right? If, for the buyer to know this ahead of time, or at least being able to factor that into their budget.
Absolutely, I would hope so. But that's the job of their realtor at this point.
Right.
Yes.
But you giving them the information that helps them when they're discussing this, having this conversation, right?
Yes.
And Larry, hi, good morning.
Good morning, Carl.
I would just say that Richie is very thorough. My clients have used him, and he has got all the equipment, up-to-date equipment to do his work.
Cora, I was telling you, I feel like we're family already with these two gentlemen because I know you don't bring us anyone who. That's why we love you. That's why we wanted the folks out there to meet you because we wanted them. I don't know if you were able to listen to the prior broadcast on the predatory lending and the situation these folks are in with this lawsuit with this Blue Hub Capital that was just taking advantage of people in a bad way, and that happens when you don't have people who are trustworthy. Or when look, it's a business, but you don't have to prey on people when you're doing it because actually, if you do the right thing, you're gonna get more referrals, right?
That's right.
If you treat me right, I'm going to tell someone else who needs a need of the same service, hey, I know Richie, I know Simon, so I'm, I know Cora. But if you give me a raw deal, I'm gonna tell them about that as well. I'm gonna speak more about that than anything. So, Cora, thank you for being here. Simon, you deal with home and auto insurance.
Yes, correct.
No, I need to talk to you. Thank you. Yeah, because and that's one of the tricky areas because you see all these ads, these commercials, and some people say it's competitive. It is competitive, but it's also in where you live, right? But also how much insurance you need to carry, right? So can you break it down to folks a little bit? Like if I'm buying a new home, the bank requires you to have insurance, which is natural. And usually the insurance that the bank requires you to have is just to cover in case something happens to the dwelling so that they make sure that their money's protected. And a lot of people don't cover the contents of the house. So can you explain what the difference is?
Yes, I agree 100% on that, Larry. So a lot of ads are attracting people by the price, right? And in fact, like to your point earlier, this is your biggest investment, your biggest asset. You don't want to save $20 per month and then have a big situation where if there's a claim that happened, like what are you going to do? Because for majority of people, they don't have the money for the catastrophic losses. If the insurance don't cover, how can you recover financially? So a lot of times when we onboard a client, we try to figure out what are they looking for. So to piggyback off of Richie's inspection business, a lot of times where we focus on is the endorsements on the insurance policy. A lot of people, when they shop, they go for just the bare bones because they shop in the price. But a lot of people that come to our office, we actually explain to them, like to what you're saying, contents, replacement costs on contents. A lot of times people opt out of that. So like, for example, if you brought a brand new TV, it's $1,000. But once you take it out of the box and say water damage due to a pipe burst or fire happened, you lost that TV, they're gonna give you coverage for ACV coverage. That's actual cash value. So the TV pre-owned is worth $20. Mm-hmm. So if you did have a catastrophic claim and a fire happened, you lost all your personal belongings. Now you're gonna get 1/10, maybe 1/4 of what everything is worth. How are you gonna replace everything? Mm-hmm. It's gonna affect you financially. So the whole point of insurance is to bring people, make people whole again after a catastrophic loss. And they are subject to the deductible of a policy. So that's why we always make sure we let the customer know what the deductible that they're purchasing. Because a lot of policies, especially like homeowners, right? They have $1,000 deductible.
Hi, this is Pastor Bruce Wall with Boston Praise Radio and TV and WBPG-LP 102.9 FM radio. I want to speak to the churches in Boston and beyond. If you have a notice that you would like us to air on our radio, TV, social media, and internet station, we will air it at no charge to you. The event has to be a non-ticketed event. If your event is free, we will air the notice for free. That's right, we will air it at no cost to you. We are a church-based radio and TV station, and we want to support your ministry. You can send your notice to us at bostonpraiseradio.tv@gmail.com, bostonpraiseradio.tv@gmail.com, or send it to us at Global Ministries Christian Church, 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass., zip code 02124, Global Ministries Christian Church, 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass., zip code 02124. Again, we will not charge you for the announcement. This is a community service for the churches.
So areas, they have like what's called like a wind hail deductible, 2%. So on $1 million home, if the replacement cost on $1 million home is, for example, $1 million, 2% is actually $20,000, which a lot of people don't have that in the bank waiting to pay insurance if there is a catastrophic loss. So that's why we want to educate the customers and connect with them, so that way we build a trust. And I've been doing this business for 9 years. I've had clients that stayed with me the whole 9 years because I take the time to educate them, to let them know what they're purchasing. So in the catastrophic losses, they have protections to protect them and their family.
So Simon, I've got it, because this is kind of a pet peeve with not just me, but a lot of folks when it comes to insurance, not just with you, but in general, that you're a good customer, particularly homeowners, until you have a claim. And once you have a claim, they either drop you or the rates become so high. Why is that always usually the case, I should say, once you make a claim? If you've been paying for 20 years and all of a sudden the house burns down, you no longer are a good customer.
I wouldn't say that you're no longer a good customer. It's more of a situation like, say, for example, if you put in a claim, say like someone threw a baseball and hit your window, right? And you put in a claim because it shattered your expensive French door, right? It's like, for example, $5,000. You have a $1,000 deductible on your home. After they pay that out, the money that is spent behind the scenes, no one see, because they send out an appraiser, they send out an adjuster, they have to file with the Division of Insurance to, about the claim, they have to file. So a lot of money is spent in the background. Just that attorney to, serve the letters if there is ever like a lawsuit in any way, or a situation where they have to constantly send you letters, and connection between you and the appraiser actually costs insurance a lot more money than people think of the $4,000, $5,000 claim. So that's why when you have a claim, you're kind of like categorized differently. So especially insurance companies, insurance is supposed to pay for catastrophic claims. So I always tell customers, insurance is not for maintenance. Like if it's a small claim, try not to file it and take it out of your own pocket, because when a tree falls on your house, that is something that you cannot afford, right? Because if a tree falls on your house and now you have to demo half your house, redo the house, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is when the claim is actually worth it. And the insurance company you can buy insurance for the rest of your life. They will never recover their money. So that's why you kind of categorize, once you have a claim or two, that the insurance company can't recover them. To what you said earlier, insurance is still a business. So they want to be fair, they want to cover you, but they need to make sure they're not losing the shirts covering you.
Right.
So that's why they categorize it. But with people that have claims, we also have options for them. So certain carriers would be like, hey, you have a small claim, it happened last year, but you haven't had any claims previously. So MAPFRE is a very good one. Safeco, a Liberty Mutual company, is a very good one, where we would place them and say, all right, so you can go with this company, but certain companies, you can still go with the mass property if you have more than one claim. So that's where we place you with the company that we feel would give you the best coverage in your scenario. Like after having for example, a $50,000 claim, it would be normal that you're not paying the same rate as someone that never had a claim.
Right. Oh, okay. Cora, I want to bring you into this. I don't know if you were able to listen to the 7 o'clock hour. We had folks in here who had a lawsuit against Blue Hub Capital, and Blue Hub Capital, who were just found liable for predatory lending, and the folks that you met out there in the hallway. No, the phone was ringing. Yeah, it was. And so what was strange to me is that they were talking about things in the mortgage where the Blue Hub now became a share owner in their property. It was in the contract, which is unheard of. It was unheard of, and they're paying interest as high as 42%, and that the Blue Hub Capital. I'm looking at your face. is now owns one of the ladies here. They have 53% of the stake, even if she sells her home until this is resolved. That they get 53% of that, and that they're paying the astronomical rates because they had some issues with their credit. They needed the refinance, whatever, and they couldn't come to a reputable place like the money store. That now they're in this, and sadly, that the judge ruled in their favor, but the Senate here in Massachusetts passed a law to protect this Blue Hub Capital from any future legal, which I don't think is legal, and the governor signed it into law. You know, this is why I tell people why we appreciate you bringing, Richie and Simon and others you've brought to this broadcast, so people can build up a database of people who are reputable, who are not going to take advantage of them, like yourselves, when they're going through these situations.
Yeah, so Larry, in those situations, you know what I usually do when I interview a client? If they have problems with their credit, they should not go through buying a home and not go through high interest rates, because it's very obvious that if you have issues on your credit, there you have some financial issues.
But you're an honest broker, right? No one that I have directed you to has matter of fact, they've referred. Matter of fact, I know someone that's dealing with you now, and you've been honest with them about their credit situation and working with them to repair that, because you're not trying to set them up to fail just to get the deal so you can get your commission, right? That's what you do, but it's not a good practice. It's people are not going to be in their home a year or 2 years from now, because you already know, based on the numbers and based on their past performance, they're probably not going to be making payments on time, or if they are, they're going to be at an interest rate that they're not going to be able to afford.
Yes, that's true. I always thought that the laws that have been put together and signed, that we are already protected against predatory lending. The Dodd-Frank law.
The governor just signed a law and I'm able to get you a copy of it, which protects predatory lenders,
yes,
which is shocking to me.
Yes.
And this is the only state that allows that type of behavior with people who are in desperate situations, and it seems like they're preying on communities of color.
Yeah, because sometimes the urge to own a home becomes very they forget the reasoning.
I think a lot of times
that's why they have to go to home buyer classes, like
right,
what we do.
When you're turned down everywhere and someone says yes, there's a lot of times there's one or two things going on. Either they're predatory and you shouldn't be in it because you can't afford it, and if someone is giving it to you and everyone else has said no, you probably need to reassess whether or not you can afford it, right? And that seems to be the case here, because all of these people, the common theme was all of them were in trouble with their mortgages and they were taken advantage of. Let's grab this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Good morning.
Good morning. Do you have a comment or a question for our guests?
I have a question.
Huh?
And again, this is a political question, so I hope she can answer it honestly. My question is, since it's a political season for them, and since the mayor is now a shoe-in to win the seat for the next 4 years, how, and again, I asked the mayor and, of course, the politicians, but how come the mayor, along with these politicians, like to keep pushing this fictional narrative that Boston is a city for everybody, when the average price, in this case, a home in Boston is worth $1 million, and people like I, who is working as a minimum wage worker, can't afford that, and sadly is going to be pushed out by gentrification to move to a place that's affordable, i.e. cheaper.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is because I know these guys are not politicians, because they're honest people, so that's probably why they don't run for office. But I don't know. I think it's a very difficult. That's not the area that I know. Cora really is someone who provides mortgage, and Richie and Simon are people who provide insurance and inspections for the homes. Don't really have much say in who comes and who. So, but maybe Cora, you have.
I just want to make a comment
Yes.
to the caller's question, that there's a lot of affordable housing units. It's not yes, it's true. Gentrification has started and it's ongoing, but there's still a lot of there's still options for
Well, Carla, are you working with someone like Cora? Because I know you've called. Why not reach out to someone like Cora, who is like I said, she's one of the sponsors of the show, but a family and someone I consider not just a friend but family, someone that I refer people to, and she's saying that there may be opportunities that she could sit down with you and at least assess your situation, so that you're not continuing to pay rent even if you go someplace else, because there's no return on that rent and money.
Right,
It's not an investment.
And if in case he is using Section 8, we can use that income as long as Section 8, the agency who provided a Section 8 loan will allow to use that, to bring it with them. It's the portability is always has to be approved by the one who provides the Section 8 assistance.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you Cora's number again. She's at 508. You ready?
Yep.
345-4726. That's 508-345-4726. Give Cora a call. And you may be pleasantly surprised that even if you're not there, you might be close to becoming a homeowner. It's still not too late. The interest rates are going down a little bit. They started to. I know it's not immediate, but is that going to help to build up Cora, people looking again? I know we're going to the season where people kind of pull back the holidays, but is that going to help with the housing market?
Well, these days rates are really better, much better now. Since from the past 3 months, it has become, and Richie probably can confirm this with me, it has become a buyer's market. There's a lot more inventory now, and then now the rates are going down, so we will see a lot more.
All right, thank
people.
you.
So even though we are in the fall season, going into the fall season already, it's still going to be busy.
So Richie, are you seeing more home inspections, or is people still waiving that? I mean, what are you seeing an increase in people now that it's become a buyer's market, that they're taking the time to pump the brakes to actually get an inspection done? Because I've seen so many homes sell for waiving inspection, which I think is just the wrong.
So right now it is a little bit busier, but still not quite as busy as before COVID. And just like you were saying earlier, Larry, part of the reason for that is there's a lot of competition. There's only so many houses for sale in Massachusetts, and everyone wants to move here. We have 10 world-class hospitals within a square mile. We have, I think, like the most universities per square mile in the U.S. for Massachusetts, and everyone is trying to move in here, and there's not enough people moving out.
Okay, no, go ahead, finish.
Okay, so there is a lot of competition, but now there are a lot more inventory out because there's a lot more brand new construction that's been completed since they started in COVID. And what I'm seeing right now, in the past, a lot of home buyers would hire me for a home inspection, and they would just tell me, hey, you don't really need to give me like a price estimate or anything, because this is for informational purposes only. Either I want it or not. But now more and more buyers and even their agents are reaching out to me after the home inspection and saying, hey, so just like the house I inspected yesterday, so their hot water boiler was 28 out of 30 years old now. It's on its way out. And they asked me for a price, and of course I can't get prices. So I turned them to maybe a contractor to give them a quote on that. So now they would just tell me, now we have what they call a $5,000 home inspection contingency. What that means is they're gonna go in the house doing a home inspection. They understand that no house is perfect. Every house is gonna have something to fix, maybe a leaky faucet, maybe an outlet to replace, but as long as the sum of all those repairs are under $5,000, they're not going to renegotiate. But if the sum of those repairs are over $5,000, now they will come back and renegotiate. Right. And I'm seeing a lot more now.
So it's not required to have a home inspection, and on a new home, it's a warranty for a year anyway. Is that true or not true on a new construction? Not a renovation, but a new construction.
Yes, I understand. Like a brand new construction from the ground up.
Yeah.
I've inspected brand new single families, maybe townhouse developments. So those you do want an inspection, and the reason why is those are actually even riskier than than let's say a house that someone is living in right now. And that's because no one has lived in there. No one has taken a 20-minute shower in there. Okay, the plumbing inspector and the plumber might have turned on your hot water for 30 seconds, a minute, hot water. Okay, I'm all set. But they haven't stimulated the real, like the actual, like using everything as if someone was living in it. Turning on the oven to 350 degrees, running the shower for 10-15 minutes, and one of the biggest things I find for new constructions is maybe the drains weren't connected properly, or if they were clogged from construction material, from the painters washing their paintbrushes in the second floor bathroom. And by the time, for every home inspection, I will run their bathrooms, their sinks, toilets, their showers for about 20 minutes. And if there were any leaks by the time we get to the first floor, we'll see a stain on the ceiling. And that's when, and sometimes the builder themselves don't know about it, because they typically hire a contractor to oversee the project. And you have all these subcontractors, electricians, plumbers, and everyone does their job, get their permits signed off. If it's 1 or 2 units, maybe they can be more hands-on to manage it themselves. But if it's a development of maybe 30, 40 units, it might not be practical for them. So.
Rich, you want to Simon.
Hi, thanks, Larry.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to piggyback off of Richie's inspection, because a lot of times on the insurance side, we come across what's like service line coverage. I'm not sure. Are you familiar?
No, I was going to explain that. I'm familiar with, but for our listening audience.
So service line coverage is basically utilities that's connected to your house. It could be like the plumber that's connected to the city, the plumbing that's connected to the city, the service lines, the electricity lines are connected to the city. So especially like plumbing, sewage, a lot of times inspection can't find that because it's underground. So what it gets scary is that a lot of the homes in Massachusetts is 1900s, very, very old. So a lot of these pipes underground could corrode, could get old and damage, or like a tree trunk growing through it. So a lot of times when we talk to a client, we do try to understand, the nature of the home. Of course, we see like when they come in, first thing we look them up in tax assessors, like, oh, this house is built in 1900. Plumbing was updated roughly about like 15 years, 20 years ago. But no one ever talks about what's underground, because no one's going to start digging up and say, hey, the plumbing over here is bad. So a lot of times when we talk to a client, we try to put them with an insurance company that offers some sort of service line coverage. So if there is, like for example, you moved in and you're just showering and you flush the toilet, and all of a sudden, boom, the sewage in the back of your home just popped open, and sewage water start coming out, etc. Now the cleanup, everything gets a little bit pricey. So insurance wouldn't cover the whole thing. So a lot of insurance companies would have like a price limit of $5,000 to $10,000 in service line coverage. You can choose to purchase more, but it really comes down to if a lot of policies don't actually have that included automatically, you do need to purchase it separately. So it is of conversation a lot of times to just talk to a new homeowner, because once you put so much money into become a homeowner, a lot of times people's banks get depleted, and then if you run into a bad situation, it's very hard to recover, or you're gonna start put it on a credit card or get a credit line just to be able to pay for more maintenance and service. So that's why we always want to talk to the client to make sure that they're in good position before we.
Right. 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. Your listeners are at the round table with MAMLEO. In studio with us, my new family members. We have Richie Wong from RNC Inspectors and Simon Seto, XP Insurance Partnership, home and auto insurance, and also my sister Cora Holbrook over there from the Money Store. Who says money don't grow on trees? The Money Store.
Well,
there.
Speaking of money growing in trees, what about Braintree? Are they growing anything there?
Braintree?
Yeah. What do they? What
They grow brains? I don't know. That's a loaded question.
Just kidding, Larry. Larry, I just want to give a shout out to Gregory Robertson and his mom, Matilda, who's from Dorchester. She is every weekend she listens to you. I mean every day she listens, and she knows about this show because Gregory is my client.
She's a smart woman.
Yeah, the son is my client, and then he mentioned to his mom what he's doing and mentioned my name. Oh, that sounds familiar.
What?
Oh, she's in the radio show. I hear
Oh yeah, we do. That's a,
So we have a listener here.
We
do
lead
have-
off every time with we always pay homage to Cora on the broadcast because we're building a family here, and I think that a lot of times people see divisions, right? And people don't understand we're all suffering, right? And if we work together, we start to put our differences aside, right? Like Cora is part of the family. You guys are now part of the family, and this is how it should work, right? Because anytime you guys want to come in and talk about something, or there's something in the community that it needs to be discussed in depth, not just a 30-second soundbite, we're here. We extend that to you. But Simon, I want to follow up with you. Is it more expensive for insurance on an older home than a new home? And also, if I'm bundling, because that's the big thing, like I have my house and my car, is it cheaper? They say it is, but is there really any savings if I do my home and car with you? Or
Traditionally, yes.
Okay.
But a lot of insurance companies, they do, some of the homes don't fit their criteria. So some of the auto insurance companies are offering like a multi-policy discount as long as the home is with the same agent.
Okay.
So it's just like a different tier. So it really it's a case by case situation. We really have to take a look at it.
But a newer home would be cheaper.
Yes.
Than
So
an older.
new construction has a new construction credit, but
Okay.
if it's not new construction, it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Okay.
The only thing for older homes, typically in our office, we tell them, hey, if it's older than 50, 60 years old, put what's called ordinance or law coverage onto the policy. And
Explain that a little bit more for folks.
so ordinance or law is essentially, in short, is to bring your property up to code after catastrophic loss.
Okay.
So a lot of people think, I have insurance, but if you have a 1900-year-old home, and what end up happening, say if you had half your house destroyed, and after you do your fixes and the city come in and say, hey, your bathroom can't be here, it doesn't meet today's plumbing code, for example, that's a situation. Who's going to pay for that change? Changing the blueprint of your home, so that cost, normally the insurance company automatically comes with a 10% coverage. So say, for example, if you purchase a home and it's 1,000 square feet, right? So average construction is about like 300 to 350 a square feet. So let's just take 300. So you're buying $300,000 worth of coverage. So 10% of that is 30,000. A lot of times when we see an older home, we say, hey, we should upgrade that to 25% in case that the city ordinance, after a catastrophic loss, they want to make a change to your home. For example, again, like your staircases, how wide or how narrow it is.
Yeah.
And that's very common as you see like the older homes, it's very, very steep. It's like, it's a tripping hazard.
Yeah.
If you had a catastrophic loss, they wouldn't let you keep the same stairs.
Right.
They're going to say, hey, you need to change the width or the
You have
length
to
of
bring
the
up to
stairs.
the new code.
Yeah.
But also, and I'm going to get back to Richie in a second here, because I want to say what hazards, right? People don't understand, like a lot of my neighbors in my community, they've all put in swimming pools, they have trampolines, they have dogs. Explain to people there is an additional cost, right? Your insurance is higher, right? And people don't think about that when they're doing these things, and they don't reach out to their insurance company for additional coverage. And then when something happens, they're wondering why they're not covered. Right? Is that
It is 100%, especially like trampoline parks. Trampolines are a little bit when you have a trampoline, typically if you have one kid, he's not the only one jumping on it.
it's your neighbor's kids, right? That sue you.
Yeah, and if they jump too high and they fall out and it's not screened, or they fell through it and they broke their leg, the first thing their parents are gonna do is file a lawsuit. And when they file a lawsuit, so that's where the insurance company have to defend you, do the liability coverage on your homeowner's insurance policy. So situations like that, insurance companies need to know when you do, higher hazard changes to your house. So like, diving board on a pool, a trampoline. If you got a new nice looking puppy,
And he turns into this vicious pit bull, right?
Correct. So even high risk dogs, if they get the good citizens certificate, they can still qualify on a homeowner's insurance policy, and the rates would not reflect that much. So a lot of people think, oh, I wouldn't qualify, or I wouldn't even be able to buy insurance. So that's not necessarily true. That's where talking to your agent actually would make sense to, talk about a insurance company that would cover
I did not know you needed to upgrade your insurance if you got a different pet.
Oh yeah. People know if that dog bites you, I'm suing you. Yeah. So you put Rover in the kennel when I come over. So Richie, because Simon kind of he hit on that, that tree. When you do your inspections, are those things you look for? Like if there's old trees that are in the yard, is that something that is covered under your inspection or not?
Usually I try to take a look, and if there's something that might be a concern, I'll definitely point it out, even though I'm not inspecting all their trees. Like if they had a big branch overhanging their roof, then I would say, hey, just be careful of that. Keep an eye. Make sure, maybe have a landscaper come out and take a look and make sure it's nice and healthy. It's not going to fall on your house anytime soon. Or if they're hanging over power lines, then I would let them know that too. I'll indicate that on their inspection report. So things like that we do look for.
And Simon, if that is what Richie's identified, if you come out to inspect for the insurance purposes, that can affect your insurance, right? If you that's a danger, a hazard.
It is a danger hazard. It's a major concern because, as you know, the weather is kind of crazy nowadays.
Unpredictable, right?
Unpredictable. You have a day of like 80 degrees, and the next day it's like 60 degrees, but super high wind.
Yeah.
And a lot of trees are actually falling on people's houses or damaging, or tree branches just dangling around, damaging vinyl siding. So this is a concern for the insurance companies as well, because as more and more people file claims, insurance is like a pool of money. So if people file a lot of claims, everyone ends up paying for it. Right. So it's contributive for everyone to.
No, that's why when I see that guy on the billboard talking about $25 billion, I mean that means I'm paying a lot more insurance because of these lawsuits. These ambulance chases, as we call them in the business. Cora, what's going on with the interest rates? Should people be looking more now to buy so that Simon and Richie can have more work, or I know, because I tell people, when I bought my first home, I had good credit, and this was back in 1987. I was paying 10%, and the average rate was around 17%. So when people are looking at rates today, I know houses are a lot more expensive. The house I bought was $135,000, but that was a lot back then. The interest rates are really relatively still low compared to historic.
Yeah, and it has come down also. So compared to last year, rates have gone down by at least 1% already.
Oh no! So what's the average rate for a home if someone was coming to you with good credit?
Well, it depends on the down payment and the credit score, of course. So the average could be from 5.75% with a good down payment up to 6.375%. So even FHA, for those with substantial, just marginal credit below 700 credit, let's say, they can still get 5.75 to 6.5%. Yes,
that's pretty good. So Richie,
yes,
is there anything that we didn't cover that you feel like when people are? I mean, that's your job when you go in to identify things. But is there anything that you can prepare people like just up front to look for when they're looking to buy a home? Is it age? Is there any advice that you can give to people so that they don't, like you're not going to get inspection for each home. It's maybe someone that you like, but are any red flags, like if they're going, probably saying, not saying they shouldn't buy, but these are kind of blinking lights that you probably want to have.
Dear friends, this is Pastor Bruce Wall. Your support keeps WBPG-LP 102.9 FM radio on the airwaves. We are proud to be Boston's only black-owned, FCC-licensed, church-based FM radio station. Daily, we bring you news, gospel music, and talk radio. Many of you have asked about our operating costs. It takes $5,000 each month to keep the station running. Consider making a financial gift of $10, $20, $100, or even $1,000 to help us continue to bring you the content you love. You can send your donations via Cash App to $BPI TV. $BPI-TV, $BPI-TV, or mail your support to Boston Praise Radio and TV at 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass. Zip code 02124. That's 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass. Zip code 02124. Without your crucial support, Boston Praise Radio and TV may no longer be able to bring you the programs you love. Your contributions make a real difference.
Done.
I see. I feel like we might not have enough time to go through
Okay,
the list.
all right. So we should bypass that house.
Okay. So I guess the best suggestion is I teach. The city offers a lot of first-time homebuyer classes. I teach some of those too, and they're typically, I think, about 2 days long, and they go through, I think, maybe 9 or 10 chapters of everything from the home buying process, including insurance, home inspection, how to find a realtor, lawyer, title company, everything. And that is a really good resource, so you just know about all the professionals involved in the home buying process. And then in there they have maybe about a half an hour class about home inspection that goes through all the tests that you might want to get for a house. So for example, if you're buying a house way out in the suburbs, it has well water, remember to get a water quality test. Or if you're buying a house with a finished basement, you should definitely get a radon test if you plan to live down there. So things like that. Every house is going to be a little bit different. As far as red flags, I guess a lot of times the most issues I've came across was, for example, if the house on public records, it says 1.5 bath, 1,800 square feet. Now they're saying it's 2.5 baths, 2,800 square feet, but that's not reflected on the public record. So it sounds like someone skipped a step somewhere.
Right.
Okay. And it may have that second bathroom that they added may or may not have been done correctly.
Permitted. Right. So
Sure.
Right. So it adds no value. Just to follow up what you said with the radon, because I think a lot of people, once they get in a home, they'll take it upon themselves. They finish their basement because they don't want to tell them, because they don't want the assessment to go up.
Yes.
But like you said, that's important here underground, right? To have that radon inspection done, because you're breathing that in, right? And a lot of these new homes, there's a lot of chemicals. My home is, built in 2017, and there's a lot of new things that we find out later on that they're not as good for us, the air quality. And my house is good insulated, but it's very tight. So like odors, in the wintertime, it's closed up, so we run the air purifiers. But I think a lot of people don't think about those things, and those are your health, because we're in wintertime. Once we close the windows, they're closed until the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's a lot of misconceptions about radon too, saying, oh, I have a brand new house, I won't have radon, but that's not true. So radon is it's a naturally occurring gas. It comes from decaying granite rocks, and it can be basically anywhere. And the EPA estimate for New England, so Massachusetts, the official statistics is 1 in 7 homes will have radon.
Wow.
And radon is a colorless, odorless gas, and I like to compare it to secondhand smoke, but colorless, odorless. So in high concentration and long-term exposure, if you're sleeping in that basement bedroom 8 hours a day or using it as an office 8 hours a day, so that long-term exposure is going to cause lung cancer.
Yeah.
Radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in the U.S. That's why in Massachusetts, because 1 in 7 homes have radon, that's a significant risk. And that's why, if you had a realtor in there, they'll tell you on your contingencies, you have your mortgage contingency, home inspection contingency, lead paint, radon, and pests. So it's important.
So are you guys local, Simon, Richie? Are you guys in the Boston area, or are you guys?
I'm in Quincy.
Okay, so you're not next door.
Yeah, next door.
Not next door neighbor. And what about you?
Weymouth, right next to that.
Okay. So you guys are, you guys are close enough. And so I'm start with you, Richie, if you don't mind giving folks listening, because you guys are telling this has really been an impactful, informative morning. I guess earlier, and then you guys, it's almost like we had that appetizer, and now this entree is just phenomenal. So I want to thank you guys for coming in. How can folks reach out to you gentlemen? We'll start with you if they wanted to have a home inspection by someone who we now is part of the family.
I see. Okay. So Larry, I left you my contact information.
Yep.
If anyone calls in for it.
But you can give it to him too.
Sure. Okay. So my office number is 617-615-9559. It's an RNC inspectors. And I usually have someone answering the phone from 10 to 6 every day. So,
7 days a week?
Usually, yes.
Oh, okay. So
Except this Sunday.
okay, so you give your wife the day off.
No, Richie's single.
Oh, okay. We'll take care of that for you. Some call. Now the phone will start ringing off. Though. And what about you, son?
So our office hours 9 to 5. So very standard office hours, Monday to Friday. Our office number is 781-556-5034. Again, it's 781-556-5034.
So,
The name of your insurance?
Yep, our insurance agency is called XP Insurance Partnership. We'd like
so
to
are
be
you
an
kind of like
expert
an underwriter for some of the other bigger insurance companies? You come to you and you kind of find them the best policy.
So we are a brokerage. Yep. So we work with almost 70% of the available insurance companies are that are writing in Massachusetts. So we have a pretty wide variety of carriers. Yeah.
Wow. No, you guys are great. Like I said, I'm gonna go back to you guys because we're. Is there anything you feel like we've missed as far as inspections that people need to know about?
I think the inspections, the hottest topic right now is the new home inspection, the right to inspect law. That's gonna be I guess effective October 15th. A lot of realtors have been reaching out asking about the changes, and basically it gives all home buyers a chance to put in the home inspection contingency, and so I guess the shortest version of that is because right now when you put in an offer, you have to list all your contingencies along the offer. What kind of mortgage you're like, how much mortgage are you planning to apply for, which inspections are you planning to do, the pest inspection, lead paint, home inspection, radon. You have to list that all out on the offers now. But I think going forward, what this new law does is every offer that you submit, you do not put any offer contingencies on that offer. So
good. No,
yeah.
Finish your thought.
Yeah, so everyone who submits an offer does not mention about anything about inspections. After the offer is accepted, just based on the price and the finance, what the home buyer is gonna finance, the home seller is gonna choose their winning offer based on that. And after the offer is accepted and before the purchase and sale is signed in 7 to 10 days, home buyers will have a right to do any and all inspections that they want.
So this may sound like a crazy question to you, Richie. If I'm a renter, can I get a home inspection? Because when you talk about the radon, if I'm living in a building, it's an older building, I want to make sure that so is it acceptable or have you ever been contacted by someone who's renting to do a home inspection, right?
Yes, I actually have many, and a lot of these renters, to your point too, some of them are not even in the basement, they're on the first floor, and they had water damage. They said the landlord came by, they kind of fixed it, and then they feel like they haven't been
right?
Exactly, they haven't been breathing well, so they think there's mold in there, and said, okay, well, let's be very objective about this. I can come in, do a air quality test and a mold test kit, and then once the lab comes and brings back the results, if you have black mold in your house, there's your answer.
See, and that's why I said people. So it's not such a crazy question, right? And it's actually good. Like I said again, your home is the biggest investment you're going to make. Why not have people like Richie come out and do your home inspection? Have someone like Cora who does your mortgage, and then we have someone like Simon who is insuring you, but making sure that you're not just getting enough insurance to reimburse the bank if something happens, but you also want to be able to cover your personal conduct. Anything we missed, Simon?
No, it's you're right on the money.
On the money. That's right. The Money Store is our sponsor. You know, right on the money. We're going to have to work that into our promo. All right. But I think that these are the things that because, you know, like you said, home ownership is such a large investment. We try to figure out where we can cut back. And sometimes we cut back on the things that we really are going to protect our home, like the inspection, like having adequate insurance, on that home. It's important. Corey, anything from you? I know you've been quiet today, but letting our brothers over here.
Well, these are very important things. We can't even, homeowners won't even proceed with most homeowners in any case won't even proceed with buying the home if there's something wrong with the house. So inspection is very, very important.
But see, Corey, you've been seeing a lot of people waiving that because the inventory was so low. People houses were selling that it was almost like.
The only reason why they're waiving inspection is because of the offer, to enhance the offer. But after the offer is accepted, they still ask the seller to allow them just for informational purposes.
Okay. So the inspection is still taking. Oh, okay.
Yes,
so
because they wouldn't want to risk their money on a house that they don't know what's going on inside, right?
Yeah. Well, this is why.
And of course, insurance is mandatory.
It is, yeah. But like once you own the home, it's up to you whether you want to carry insurance or do you still have to carry insurance on the home if you own it outright.
If the home is owned outright, it's not mandatory because there's no bank holding you hostage. but I would never suggest. Yeah, I would never